most of the things that we are doing all day long, we want to believe, are actually leading us to reaching a goal that we've set for ourselves. But how true is that really? Are we actively living towards reaching the goals that we've set? And how can we utilize AI tools to actually help us get there? This is what we're going to discuss in today's episode of Who Do You Want to Be? And I'm very, very happy to be here with you today, Abha. How are you?
I'm really good, and we are touching upon two very important topics because they really drive everything that happens in our life. It's what we want to achieve and how we want to get there. And the underlying current to it all is our daily habits. So I'm super excited to talk about this because there's so much we can talk about.
It is a very exhaustive topic, to be very honest with you. And the interesting thing that I'm also oftentimes witnessing in coaching conversations that I have is that people do aim for, let's say, very generalistic goals. Like, for example, I want to be able to have a great retirement with lots of money in my bank account. Or I want to own 4 different houses, so each of my children can have one of these houses later as, a saving plan for themselves. Or I want to reach a certain position in my organization. Oftentimes, these goals are goals that have been set, let's say, because people heard amazing stories about others who have reached those goals. Oh, when I have 4 different houses, that means I must be living a good life. Or when my bank account is full with money, I don't really have to worry about anything. So I'm going to set that as my goal. Now, what many people do not take into consideration when they are setting goals is, for example, how well does my goal actually align with my values? Because when my goal is not aligned with my values, there will be a subconscious resistance within myself to take action towards this goal. Let's say the goal that I have set, because I believe it's a good goal, is that I want to have, let's say, 10 million dirham in my savings account by the time I turn 50 years old. Okay, that's a great goal. Now, when I'm looking into my savings account right now, there's a lot I need to do to reach those 50 million dirham or 10 million dirham in my bank account. Now, what does that actually mean for my actions? It would mean that I would probably have to work 80 hours a week. It might mean that I would have to become part of a huge corporation, international corporation, which might ask me to travel on many international trips because that will be a requirement. Now, if I look into my values are, for example, my very personal ones, are mastery and love. And everything that I do is mostly centered on my family, meaning I want to spend time with my kids. I want to be around for them to see me every day so I can teach them new things. They can lean on me. They know that I'm always here. That directly contradicts that idea of working 80 hours and constantly traveling internationally if I had to reach that goal of having X million dirham on my savings account. And so once we have reached that first awareness that there is a contradiction between my values and my goal, it's time to reconsider my goal. So, what about you? How do you actually set the goals that you have in your life?
You're absolutely right. There is usually a discrepancy between our goals and what we want and how we want to go about achieving them. And I'm no less. I mean, my goals keep changing, the milestones keep moving, and that's the reality of it, right? Circumstances change, life happens. At the moment, I am functioning on quarterly goals because I realized that when I do an annual goal, I struggle. So I have an annual goal, and that can be in the business category, personal category, family category, health category, for example. And then I try really hard to then have quarterly goals by breaking them down into smaller goals. And then if I reach quarter one and I haven't achieved those goals, then I kind of, to be honest, get very overwhelmed and don't know what to do, and usually throw out all my goals from the window and start all over again. But that's just the reality of it all. It's I wish that for everyone, it could be like this very systematic thing, where you set your goals, you align with your values, and then you go about day by day achieving your goals. I wish that's how it worked. However, I am now incorporating a few tools into my life to try and help me do this. I haven't found one tool yet, but I am finding things like project management tools that are AI driven quite good in mapping everything, putting everything on a sheet of paper so that they can be tabulated and put into a calendar of some sort. So I'm not doing it manually. And then apps that help me, that give me reminders. What do I need to do next? Or reminds me of my quarterly goals, because again, sitting down and revisiting your goals quarterly is a task that you have to schedule into your calendar, and it's very easy to forget about that. So that's kind of where I'm at, trying to map my goals and trying to find tools that help me integrate them so that I can actually work slowly and gradually towards achieving my goals and aligning them to values, because we forget. We forget that there's no congruence between our goals and our values. And we only are reminded of it when something happens and then we feel this is not aligned.
I'm grateful to you, Abba, that you were vulnerable enough to actually share with us that you are setting goals, but there is no guarantee that you're actually reaching them. And that brings me to another super important point when we are discussing realistic goals, because in the end, this is what it's all about, right? I'm setting a goal. Of course, I want to be ambitious. I want to have a big goal. I don't want to have a goal that I can reach tomorrow, because that might not be enticing enough either. But I also need a goal that is actually realistic for me to reach in terms of my abilities. So this is the second part. When we're looking into goals, how equipped and how ready am I actually also to reach this goal? So let's say I would be setting the goal of becoming a master pianist within a year, but today I have my first piano lesson. Unless I am a natural talent and I have perfect hearing, it's extremely unrealistic that I'm going to be a master pianist in a year from now. So let me take another look at my goal and let's consider, where am I right now? What am I capable of right now? How much knowledge do I have of what I need to know in order to actually reach my goal? But then also, how much time would I actually require to get to that space that I need to be to reach my goal? And then starting from this, the next thing we need to look into is, do I have the right behavior to actually take me there? So let's say I want to become that master pianist, but my habit is that I am spending 5 minutes a day to play piano. That is not necessarily enough to actually reach to that level. So I need to change my habit, my understanding of how important is it for me to learn piano. So let me create a habit that allows me to play 30 minutes of piano a day. And I'm not going to jump from 5 minutes to 30 minutes every day. That's a bit unrealistic. But I can jump from 5 to 10, and then maybe from 10 to 12, and from 12 to 15, and so on and so forth, until I build a new habit, which is playing piano for 30 minutes every day. And you've been mentioning, Abba, that you are looking for tools that you can integrate. And I'm quite sure that there are a few that could also help to solve, let's call it the habit problem.
100%. Like, for example, the music example that you've given to become a master pianist. So we have an AI app at home that teaches you how to play the piano. And there's an AI backend to it. And what it does is, depending on what level you want to reach and by when, it works backwards and gives you goals. So
Oh,
it
wow.
says, for example, if you want to reach level 5 by summer, for example, we estimate that you need to play 15 minutes a day. But then that gets reassessed depending on how well you are playing. So if you're playing really well, then it will change your goals and say, because of your progress, you do not actually need to play 15 minutes every day. For the next few days, you can get away with playing 5 or 10 minutes a day, and you will still reach that goal. So it is truly amazing that if you find the right tool to work with, whatever goals you may have, you will have a support system, or let's call it a project management system, that may help you better achieve it. Because the truth is, I mean, you, of course, you're a mindset coach and you work with people on this. So you have your methods, your frameworks, your systems, and I'm sure you apply them not only to your clients, but to yourself as well, right? However, people like me who do not have that expertise or skill set and are not working with a coach, it's really all on us, you know? So if we can't find a system that will actually help us go from A to B like we want it to, we're probably never going to reach it. Like exactly the example you said, if I'm only going to play 5 minutes of piano a day, I'm not going to be a very good piano player at the end of the year. But then I don't have anyone to tell me that. I don't know. I have a similar thing. I can hold a handstand now for 5 seconds. I want to
Wow.
be able to hold it for 30 seconds, right? This is a goal I've had this year and I'm failing miserably at it. But the reason I'm failing at it is because I'm not doing what I need to do every day to be able to hold extra. And the truth is, if you're not consistent, it's 2 steps ahead, 1 step back, and then you have to revisit your goals. I have an app that tells me every day what to do to reach this 30-second handstand hold. But again, it's the discipline, it's fitting it into everything. It's so nuanced. But again, it comes down to how can we use our human skills to interact with tools, and they can all synergize to help us move forward in a more systematic and realistic way. Because the truth is, most our goals are unrealistic. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think it will help us know that they're big, stretchy goals. Like I feel goals need to stretch us, but then also we need to have a realistic look of, okay, what's actually going to happen and what do I need to do every day? And I think for those people who don't want to work with a coach or don't have the ability to work with a coach or have someone guide them, AI tools can really support you in that way.
I completely agree with you. I mean, even for the clients that I work with, most of them use a habit tracker of some sort, or they use a tool, for example, that helps them to reflect every day on how did I actually do? Do I feel that I made any progress today? And if I don't, then let's see what the reasons are for this. Because, of course, one thing, and that reminds me of this wonderful episode we had the other Friday morning, one thing is to be motivated, and the other thing is discipline. And as you were just saying, for habits, especially when we are trying to establish new habits, it's all about repetition and consistency. The magic here is, though, not to believe that only one day I missed would destroy the whole work I've done until that day. It's the same as with, let's say, any diet. If I want to lose 5 kilos and I've been doing amazing for, let's say, 10 days in a row, and then on day 11, I just can't help it, but I'm having a piece of cake, it doesn't mean that I'm putting all the weight on again. It doesn't mean that I'm losing all of the progress that I made. Okay, it might be a tiny step back, maybe, but if I keep going tomorrow, my progress is certainly there. And keeping going tomorrow is definitely a much better choice than stopping all over and having cake every day again. So this is super important for us to keep in mind as well. And I believe that even there, when we have tools that we use, they keep nudging us every day. And they will also say, hey, you didn't do it yesterday. Today is a new day. Try again and do it now. And that's the right thing to do.
They can definitely give you the nudge that you might need or the encouragement you might need when you're lacking it, purely because they're set up in that way. And I think there are tools that will allow you to choose how much nudging you want. Do you want a daily reminder? Do you want a weekly reminder? Do you want a monthly reminder? Do you want a reminder before bed every night? So there are tools that will pretty much adapt to what you want to do. And there are also tools where you can input everything that you're doing and they will analyze what you're doing and evaluate how you're doing it and maybe suggest a better way, which is then up to you if you want to take it. Because again, they don't know who you are, they don't know your life. You can put the information you want to, but they're not going to know your day-to-day life and how you're feeling and all of that. Although apps will ask you how you're feeling today, and then they can make patterns out of how you've been feeling every day at different times of the day. So, I feel like if we find the right AI tool to work with us, it will really help us better map out all the steps we need to take to achieve those goals that maybe we're not hitting. But then you also have to worry about app overwhelm, right? Because, so again, it's all about balance and all about, is this really going to save me time? Is this really going to support my goal making process? Is this really enhancing what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis? Because if it's not, you lose it. And I think that's another thing. We have too many things we hold on to that are distractions rather than helping us move forward. And that's something else to keep in mind, because it's very easy to get distracted with these apps. Like, for example, I have this Ultra Human ring, and I am not on a caffeine restriction, right? Like, I just want to drink coffee whenever I want to drink coffee. This ring will tell me, though, the best time to drink coffee and when I need to stop drinking coffee. I can sometimes go into a rabbit hole trying to understand, why should I stop drinking coffee? And why are they telling me this? And is it really affecting my mood? And is my cortisol level really increasing? And how is that affecting my goals? And how is that affecting my productivity? And then it's just a distraction, right? Because I never even thought of monitoring when I'm drinking coffee. So I think we just need to be very aware of what we're doing, why we're doing, and what tools we're using, so that we're actually moving forward and not just having more distractions, because we all don't need any more distractions.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, it's the same thing for me. If I come across an app, for example, that sounds amazing. Like the other day, I was looking into an app that was supposed to help me with my nutrition. And I was all in and I was super excited about it. But then I started to use that app. And as you said, it also requires a certain amount of time from my end to actually input all of that information. Or on my Whoop, for example, because I don't have the ring you're wearing, I have a Whoop instead. I have a daily journal that asks me customized questions that the Whoop helped me to identify in order to support the habits that I want to build. Now, I arrived at, I think, 16 questions or so, and you can imagine how many nights I actually end up answering all of those questions. And it's not many nights. It's still good that it keeps reminding me that I have had that intention of setting up that journal. Even that in itself actually helps to remind me of being a bit more conscious, which is great. So, to a certain extent, it already reached that goal. But the question really is, what do we really want to be focused on? Because just dividing our attention between 20 apps that we set up for a good reason is also very counterproductive.
We're probably going to have super apps moving forward, which is all in one apps that help us do everything in one platform. But I don't know. But I think the conclusion of this all is that there are many tools to help us achieve the goals we want to achieve. There's no excuse anymore, basically. Either you go and hire an amazing coach like Sabine to help you navigate all of this, or you try and look at a tool to help you move forward if you're feeling stuck. And I think the truth is, the way AI is coming into our life to support us, if we use it in the right way, we really have no more excuses, because these tools are making it possible for us to achieve anything we want, however we want to, with whatever time we have and with whatever budget we have. So next time you feel stuck in your journey of trying to achieve some goals, or you want to clean up your habits, or you want to ensure that your habits are actually leading you towards your goals, apart from looking for a coach, which if you can, you must, because again, no tool can take the position of a human being in the advice that they can provide you from the expertise that they have. However, if that's not something for you right now, there are tools that can help you at least project manage your tasks for the goals you want to achieve. So don't be afraid to look out there. Not all tools will feel like they are for you, but when you read about the tools, some of them may align with what you're feeling, how you're thinking, and how easy they are to use. So again, have an open mind and know that whatever you want to achieve today, you can if you have the right blend of humanness and AI, which is again the premise of this entire podcast. The right balance of human intelligence and artificial intelligence is the only way forward for us to thrive. So thank you for listening. I hope you found that useful, and we'll see you again next week.